Welcome to the Battlefield Show. I'm your host, Sage Goodwin, and as always, I'm joined by Sammy Boy. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Doing great. Today, we have a very surprising update for Battlefield 2042, and it is update 3.1 for Season 3, Escalation. We have the new manifest rework, some new weapons from the vault, and a lot of improvements to the game. So, let's jump right in. There's been a lot of back and forth going on in the Discord about whether or not Spearhead is in fact the best map, and I just want to say still definitively it is the best map in Battlefield 2042. I don't care what anybody else says, and I think it holds up quite well to the other Battlefield maps.
Yeah,
Period.
I might not agree with the all-time Battlefield, but for this game, 100% agree with you. It's definitely the best, and that's like no disrespect to the other two they've added, because those are great maps, but this... It's just different gravy, I think. I don't know what's so good about it, but it's
top tier,
very
man.
Enjoyable.
It's like when you get a really nice hot dog and it's the chicken sausage instead of the like random bits and bobs of different animals, kind of like pure chicken or pure beef, like no frills, like it's just goodness all the way through. Yep. With nice toppings. The other maps, I think, like, yeah, I could say like Stranded's like a, let's say chicken is top tier for me. Chicken sausage is just chef's kiss, so good. So I'd say like Spearhead's chicken sausage hot dog, and then we have like Stranded's 100% beef, and then like I don't know I'd say. The base maps are like, I don't know, like whatever. Do you even think it's meat? Probably not. Aliens
Working
chopped up and all that kind of stuff.
I can tell you it's not meat. Well, it is meat, but it's just like this goo that they just put into the hot dogs thing and cook it. Tastes good. I don't really care, to be honest.
Was it every time you eat a hot dog, you take off like 2 years of your lifespan?
Probably, to be honest.
Let's speed run this baby. Now that we've lost all of our listeners, we're going to talk about different meats and animals getting chopped up and put into casings.
After just prior to the podcast, spending like 20 minutes talking about sleep, and now we're talking about hot dogs. We are built different today for some reason.
Welcome to what happens when we record the podcast on Wednesday instead of Thursday.
You're not in the usual mindset today, boys. Give us a break.
Yeah. Stick with us. It's going to get better, we swear. It can't get worse.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But man, we got a lot of jokes aside about like Spearhead. I love that map so much, and I still have been playing it as much as possible through Breakthrough. But now that we've got the new map, we've played a variety of lengths. I've played it one full match. You've played it 1.5 because the first one that you did was partially way through. But we have some experience with it, and I want to get into that first. What are your thoughts on the new manifest?
Look, it's hard to properly give an opinion just because, like I said, we both have played a limited amount of time. But what I'll say is that I don't think I need more time. It just feels like pretty similar to what it did. It definitely feels improved. But it's kind of similar to maybe like the kaleidoscope change, where it definitely was an improvement, but the overall map kind of plays the same. The good thing for me with Manifest was it wasn't that bad of a map. It's not one of the best, but it's definitely not one of the worst. So it's not like I'm just like, I hate Manifest. It's actually been fine kind of the whole time. So overall, I would just say it's a decent enough improvement. I think the cover that they've added and stuff definitely makes it flow a little bit better. I find myself like running from objectives to the next one. It's not as much of like a gamble, I guess, because sometimes you'll run just way out in the open. That's the only way to get there. Whereas now there's a bit of cover on the way. So between that and I think the slight changes to the lighting as well, it's a little bit brighter. I think that just makes it play a bit nicer. So definitely an improvement. but it's not kind of like orbital or what we expect breakaway to probably be. It's not that level. So, and that's what I expected. It's not like I'm disappointed. This is one of those ones I wasn't that keen for, mostly just because I didn't expect it to change that much. What are your thoughts on it?
It's one of those things where I don't feel a massive difference, and it doesn't change a whole lot for me. There's still I think too much space overall on the map, because I felt like I didn't go to the majority of the map location. I was just literally like hopping in from this section, dying, and then going to a completely different section through the spawn screen, because I just did not want to travel to those other areas by foot.
Yeah.
And as we know, the reliance on vehicles and we don't like the vehicles, period. So I think that's definitely one of the things that is limiting my enjoyment of this map, is because you do have to use those vehicles to kind of get more travel across the map easier.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's, especially just kind of with the way that it's laid out too. It's like, if you don't want to go to the top, like the B sector, I think it is, on top of the hill, then I feel like you have to go all the way around it, which is kind of annoying. It makes it seem further than it is. Not that for me, I kind of hang around at B anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. But it's almost like if you want to get from one side to the other, and you don't want to have to go to B, because that's a high traffic area, a lot of people might not want to go, and you might go straight up there and try to get to the other side and just get killed. So it kind of feels like you have to go all the way around the hill. And it's just a weirdly laid out map, I think, is my main issue. And the other thing is that it doesn't look all that big, but I think a big part of it is that the hill obviously adds like a diagonal to it, so it's actually more surface area than it probably looks from the bird's eye view, because the B flag isn't that far from the rest. But when you're actually there and you've got to run up a hill instead of just flat, the distance is actually more. Like, you've got to run further than it kind of looks like. So yeah, it's just a kind of weirdly laid out map. I think the points of interest play really well. It's been since launch one of those maps that when you're at like on top of the hill or in the area with all the shipping containers and stuff, those areas play really well. I think just my issue with the map is getting from place to place. There's also like less zip lines between areas and stuff. I think it's just a bit harder. The movement side of it is a bit harder, but I still think it's an improvement. And like I said, I don't kind of just had no expectations, as negative as that probably sounds. I wasn't going into this like, oh, I'm so keen to play it. This is one of the maps that I have just never really cared about, because it's neither good or bad. It's just kind of like, that map's all right. And that's kind of my overall thoughts on it.
Yeah, it's not changed it drastically for me. I know they said they have like more places to hide, but I still get killed as much as before from people sniping, just because there is a lot of verticality in this map. There's the storage containers that you can get on top of. There's the crane that you can get on top of. There's the outpost on top of the hill that you can get on top of. Like, there is a lot of vertical visibility that will limit your ability to traverse the map very well, which is one of the reasons why I was like dying and then respawning into a completely different area of the map. Just because that's just how it went. Like, I would be feeling really good about myself. I got a crap ton of kills on the map. Like, I had a good game. I think I was in the top maybe 15, which for me is pretty good. And I was enjoying it, and then all of a sudden I hear oh, I just got hit by an M5 from like across the map. Or I just got sniped because a little part of my head was out. But like, I think, as with all the other reworks, it is not changing it enough for me to where I'm like, it's a great map. It's a better map. It's not great. That's my perspective on it.
Yeah, that pretty much sums up my thoughts as well. Really, outside of Orbital, and even Orbital, I think that seems better because it was already a decent map. So it's probably, they kind of all haven't improved drastically. They're definitely improvements, but I think really the only one we've seen that looks genuinely promising is Breakaway, and that's because it's like a drastic change. Like they've changed the whole like landscape and everything. And they just haven't done that with the other maps. Which, to be fair, like you kind of can't on a lot of them. You may as well just like redo the whole map, like start from the very start. So I don't really blame them. I'm not like saying, oh, they've just been lazy and half-assed. I think they've done what they can. I think they were just so poor at the beginning that you can't really improve them that much at the end of the day. So I don't really have any negative thoughts towards the improvements either. I'm not fussed with them doing them. I think it's a good thing. But for me, it's more all three of the new maps have just been so good that I just still don't really care about the base maps at this point.
Yeah, I have no interest at all in going back and playing them, honestly. It's good that they're putting in the effort because I think they're learning more and more as they go through these reworks. I would be very interested in seeing like the heat maps on these maps. Like, what were they like before? Where were the people playing? Like, that would be super fun because they released it on Orbital, and that was really interesting to look at. Yeah. But I would like to see it with the new maps, and I assume that they are utilizing those heat maps to adjust where the points are. At least I'm
you would think
quite certain they would.
You'd think that they would look at like where it's high traffic and go like that area is hot and it's not the best area, so maybe we kind of like reinforce that area and make that a really hot area. I'd imagine that's probably how they do it because and even like trying to, maybe it's not, the heat map isn't laid out how they kind of planned it to, so they try and move an area to another area or whatever to try and like direct people over there and give it a better flow or whatever. So I'd imagine they do that as well.
I think just like cutting off the areas where nobody goes to or very little is going to have a huge impact. Yeah. And again, like I think the effort of going through and reworking the old base maps is good, but I don't think it's not drastically changing it for me. Like I don't ever think of like, man, I can't wait to get on any of the base maps. No, I could just play Battlefield on the new maps and be happy with that experience.
Yeah, exactly the same for me.
And then kind of like going forward, this is something I forgot about until like just now, but I pulled it up. We have new details on the vehicle side of things. So something that they're going to be doing more of are these dev notes and breaking down different parts of the game from the developers' perspectives and detailing some things that they're thinking about, getting feedback on it. I just think it's funny that they're constantly going into like, okay, we don't want to have any of this feedback on our main Twitter account, so we're going to make a secondary Twitter account, and then they're basically going to share the exact same things. Okay, why was there a need for the second one?
Yeah, well, I always find that very odd as well, because I'll go to get the patch notes, and I'll just go by habit still to the Battlefield account, and I'm like, hang on, where's all this stuff that they're talking about? And then I realize, they made a burner account for that.
Was it Direct Communications or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, Battlefield Direct Communications. And usually, actually, they're relatively active. They post quite a few things. So they post pretty consistently-ish. Their spans of like, they'll post 7 times on one day and then they'll be gone for like a week. But on this regards, we have a new thing. We have like, there's the feedbacks, there's the patch notes, there's the updates around the game. Like there's all of these different levels. We have another addition to that, and it is dev notes, a development overview of vehicles in Season 3. And we're going to have some thoughts when they talk about vehicles in the game.
Yep.
I think the biggest thing, and we're discussing this on the Discord quite a bit, and it is the addition of APS to the game. And I had no idea what this was, but it was something that was in Battlefield 4, and it is the Active Protection System. One of the pieces of equipment available to the tour is the Active Protection System. we brought this feature to the EBLC RAM in Season 2, we knew we would want to release it across other vehicles. We also know that this is something you've been asking for, especially on the likes of the M1A5 or the T28. With the release of Active Protection System, we have completely reworked it. This won't be anything that you will notice at first glance. However, from an under-the-hood perspective, it will now be working smoother, better on performance, and a lot more efficiently. This now gives us the opportunity to close the loop on your request for active protection across additional vehicles. Discovered it. Primary railgun punches right through any defense put up by the active protection systems. So if you see an enemy vehicle with active protection engaged, you know what to do. As we move forward with Season 3, we plan to release active protection system on both the M1A5 and the T28. Once released, it will be available for you to unlock, equip, and will work the same way as it does across the RAM and the Tour. So this is just something that they're adding to make the vehicles more harder to destroy.
Which is pretty mind-boggling to me personally, because I do feel like they're already pretty tough sometimes to take out. Maybe
I'd say
not
the
like
majority of people aren't
stuff.
equipped to.
Yeah, that's the thing with it, is like if everyone has a rocket launcher, I can see why this is the case, but like that's not the case. So, and especially the other thing I feel like they haven't taken into account is that they are locking gadgets to certain classes soon. So not everyone can bring an M5 with them. And so, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this, to be honest. Maybe on choppers I could understand it, because they are a lot more susceptible to damage. Like if you shoot an M5, I think most of them are a one-hit kill. I know like a little bird anyway, if you direct hit, which is not easy to do, but you can one-shot kill a chopper. So I can understand for that, like give them almost an extra life, that if they just get hit, like it can protect them. But with tanks, I feel like tanks are already incredibly beefy. Like, I don't know, you got to get right. The only way to really completely dominate them is to play Sundance with C5 and get right next to them and blow them up. That is very risky to do, and not everyone is equipped to do that. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of this. We'll obviously have to see how it goes, but I don't know. Anytime they buff, this is essentially a universal vehicle buff, and I'm just not a fan of that, to be honest. If you're going to do this, then maybe reduce their damage or something. You got to keep it balanced. Make them more tanky and less of like a threat. Not to reduce their entire threat, but slightly nerf the damage they can do to us. You know, like if they're getting more health, essentially, then reduce their damage and give us more health, because otherwise it's just, yeah. I don't know what game they're playing, but when I play Battlefield, the vehicles dominate, like completely dominate. And I understand in real life that's the case, but this isn't real life. It's a video game.
Yeah. I just think the amount of players that... Actually, let me just put it in my perspective and my experiences. The vehicles in the game are quite powerful. There are quite a few of them, and maybe something that they can do is when you equip like the M5 rocket launcher, that you have more, like instead of only 3 shots, maybe you have 5. I think that would be a good kind of like subtle change that will help on the battlefield. Because I always like, okay, I'm going to shoot 3 times at this. If I miss one, then there goes my opportunity to do any more damage for the entire thing, unless I get restocked with ammo. And the amount of times that I get restocked with ammo in this game is minuscule.
Yeah. The other thing is that I think unless you hit them in their weak spot, you can't deal enough damage with your base amount of M5 ammo. So it's like, that's why I don't use it. I actually really like running a rocket launcher, and in previous Battlefield games I've kind of always done that. But I just don't, because I can't kill the tank. Like I have to pretty much team up with someone to do it, which is, I guess that's probably what they're trying to go for, but when you play solo, or if you're playing with friends but they're all playing as like a medic or whatever. Yeah, you can't. I can spawn in and I can literally do almost everything that I can do against a tank, and I can't kill it, and it can one-shot me. Like, that just isn't balanced. So give us more. If we're going to take more shots to kill them now because they're going to have the APS, then at least give us more ammo, like you said. Because that's still, it's not like that just makes it pointless. Like what they're changing, because it will still take longer to get the kill, but at least it still gives us a chance. Because now essentially the M5 is pretty much redundant. You honestly may as well never use it. Because you've got 3 rockets. If they block the first one with the APS, then you've only got 2. You can't deal enough damage with 2 to get a kill, and then if you miss one, you can't barely deal any damage. So like, what's the point of even using it? You may as well just use anything else.
Yeah, so like, you're basically, if you want to go up against a vehicle, just don't.
Yeah, that's literally what. Yeah, if you want to kill a vehicle, then play Battlefield 5, because this ain't it. This one, they've made them a lot harder. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know why they've done it, but yeah, that's how it is.
And the whole thing too, like the turret speeds, they're increasing almost all of them. They've only decreased the howitzer medium speed, period. And I think they're just what we're saying is the vehicle team needs to be in check. They need to listen to us, and they need to adjust it for the infantry players. We need to keep the infantry players in mind. Because, I mean, honestly, how many people are going to be in a tank? Maybe 3, 4, possibly.
That's the other thing with vehicles, I think, is that they are so like niche, and the people who do play them are the very good players. Like, you don't like if, and
they whine about being killed all the time after they've gotten a 35 kill streak.
Yeah, like, it's just, yeah, I don't know. The people who are just pretty casual, not to say anyone who's casual does not use vehicles, but like, most people who are casual, they just load in with their gun and they just go and play. The people who are generally in the vehicles are the very good players who are like specialized at, like, they're vehicle players, right? And so what I think they should try and do, if they're going to try and buff them, is just almost like reduce the skill ceiling on the vehicles so that you're making it easier for casuals, if that's what they're trying to do. Because maybe when casuals use vehicles, they can't do well. I know for me, if I get in a tank, I generally won't do that well because I'm a casual vehicle player. So if they want to buff them, somehow try and buff them for the casual player, so that like now you and I, who don't play vehicles, we can get in them and do a bit better, but don't increase the ceiling of what those already very, 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 very good players can do, because they are already dominating, and now you're just making it easier for them. So it's got to be more to do with the skill gap between casuals and elite players, rather than just overall making vehicles better, because that's not the way to do it. It's kind of like making a sniper just a one shot to the body to make them like a bit easier for casuals, right? And that would work for casuals. But then the people who are already elite at sniping, if we can now shoot anywhere on the player's body, I'm going to go 100-0 every game, because if I can already do well with a sniper and you just buff them universally, then no one's going to have fun, because all the people who are good at sniping will just kill everyone immediately. So
yeah,
it's kind of that same thing. It's like, you can't just universally buff something. It has to have balance to it. And if they're trying to make, I don't know what their goal here is. If they're trying to make them a bit easier for like just a regular player to use, that's fair. I think that's completely fair. But you got to balance it in a way that like give them a bit more health so that they're easier to survive in, but reduce the damage so that the good players can't just shit on everyone at will, because that's pretty much how it's going to go.
I do not like this change, and I'm just wondering why. Like, I never have felt like the vehicles, like the tanks, anything that can actually like shoot something in the game have felt weak at all.
Yeah.
Even when I'm playing them, like, I'm not a good vehicle person. I don't play them often. But like I can get like I jumped in a tank one time and I was the secondary shooter, and I got a 6 kill streak in the 5 seconds I was there.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I guess they are just listening to that vocal minority of the people who are literally like, they would have like a 14 KD and they're complaining that they died once to a rocket launcher. And like,
this is way too overpowered. It's so
Yeah.
stupid.
after being that haven't, in the history of this game, they have not finished anywhere but first, and they are complaining, and then they listen to those people when that is just the absolute vocal minority. But they sound a lot louder because they're the ones. They're a lot of the time they're content creators and stuff like that. You gotta not do that. You gotta find balance there. You can't just listen to the vocal minority and go, "Oh, this one dude who is really good at vehicles, he died once to a rocket launcher, so let's buff them." Like that's not how it works.
What I would say to, if you're in DICE and you're listening to this and you're on the vehicle team, get out of the vehicle for a little bit. Play infantry, because I think that's, if you're a vehicle developer, obviously you're focusing on the experience within the vehicle.
Yeah.
You're not jumping out. Jump out of the vehicle, have a whole match, several matches where you're just playing infantry, because I think there'd be a much different experience.
They need to play for like a
them.
month without, like, as an infantry without a rocket launcher, and just see how that feels, because that's what most players who play their game, I would say 95% of the player base are infantry without rocket launchers or whatever. So
Yeah.
play as that for a month, and I'm guaranteeing you'll be, when you go back in to develop the next vehicle, you'll be like, I learned a little bit in that month. I learned that I despise vehicles now, so I'm gonna just go with a balanced approach, because that is how it feels, and I'm sure that's how it probably is, that they are like the specialists in that area, and that's great. But they do need to, you've got to look at it from both sides. It's like I said, if you're developing a sniper, you don't just develop it by using it. You have to like see how that feels to be shot at with it as well. Because if it's like a shotgun, it's got like this huge spread on it or something, and you just shoot anywhere near the enemy and it kills them, then I'm pretty sure if that developer played against that for a couple of weeks, they'd be like, man, that is really not fun.
Yeah. Walk a mile in our shoes. Experience the other side of the vehicle's weapon, and I think it would be a much different experience here.
Yeah.
And I think what's funny is the thumbnail graphic that they have for the dev notes is someone maybe like 12 feet away from the tank with like an M5 about to shoot them. Like, have you ever played Battlefield? You can't get that close to a tank.
Yep. The only way you can is with Sundance, and pretty much when you do, like, that's how I play. I'll put C5 on and play Sundance, and when I'm doing that, it's a suicide mission. I'm not surviving that. I'm taking one for the team. I'm landing right next to that tank, blowing it up and myself in the process, and respawning. So they obviously, I'm not sure what that picture is going off. I also just noticed there's another person right next. I think, is that person repairing?
Yeah.
To the right of the
maybe
edge of the tank.
Yeah, I saw that too. I think so. Like,
Interesting.
I'm so confused by this entire image.
And
It's
the people
like,
up on the ridge line, like, they would have shot that dude with the rocket launcher 8 times over.
Yeah, there's no way this dude, and it's obviously not Sundance.
Yeah,
It
I'm not
looks
sure
like
who that is.
McKay.
Yeah. Oh, it might be no, I think it's Zane. Is that the grenade launcher on his back?
Oh yeah, that's right.
It might be. I don't know. Yeah, I think it is actually.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, there's no way Zane's getting that close to this tank with 7 people on the ridge. Zane would have died many times before they got
Speaking
that
of
close.
that too, the other little gripe I really like Zane. Why does his rocket launcher or grenade launcher not deal damage to vehicles? That is the dumbest thing ever. Just make it deal like 3 damage. I don't need it to be to take out a tank straight away. But if there's a tank near me and it's on like 10 health, and I shoot 5 grenades at it, surely that can be a kill. Like that's dumb because it deals literally 0. Like it'll if you shoot it and there's a tank and a player right next to that tank, it will kill the player. It deals the damage, but it deals none of it to the actual vehicle. Like it's so odd. I don't know why they've done that, unless it's a bug, but it feels intentional. It feels like it's meant to be like anti-infantry, but it's like, why don't we take that same energy and put it to the tank so that if you're not using a specific anti-infantry round, then you can't deal damage to me. You can only deal damage to other tanks. Why don't we run it like that?
Yeah, I 100% agree with that gripe. I think it's so weird that it doesn't deal damage to a vehicle. Like, even if we go into physics here, like you're gonna like deal a little bit of damage, even if it's like denting an antenna on the front of it. Like that could be counted as damage. Make me shoot it 5 times to get 10 damage. Like
exactly.
I still think it should deal some bit of damage.
Yeah, just giving me a hit marker would just be. I'd be like, okay, I'm doing something here. You shoot it. I remember the first time I used Zane and I saw I think it was just like a regular Jeep driving past, and I was like, oh, I'll try and like deal a bit of damage to that, and hit it 5 times, and I was like happy with myself, but there was no hit markers, and I was like, really? I've just done all that for pretty much absolutely nothing.
It's quite the time. How have you been enjoying, like, overall season-wise, how have you been enjoying it?
Yeah, it's been good fun. I think the game's in a good spot now where it just feels, I don't know, there's just a fun energy around the game at the moment. I really like Zane. He's the only specialist they've added that I know I will continue to play. I've had a few times where like his trait where you get that health back on a kill has like saved me, and I get another kill, and it feels real. Like that's pretty much the first trait of anyone really that I feel that I actually can feel happening. Like most of the others, their trait, maybe McKay with like the faster movement when you aim down sights, but the rest of them I feel like the trait is almost like unnoticeable. Not to say they're all bad, but it's just like you can't actually see it happening. Whereas, when I use Zane, I get a kill and I've like taken damage, and then I feel that like you can hear the like injection of like morphine or whatever they do, and it's like you can hear him like breathe, and you feel it as a player. You're like, oh yes, I got my health back. It's just really enjoyable. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with this season. Especially I think just Zane and Spearhead combined, and also just like the quality of life changes and stuff. It all just feels it's in a very good spot now. It's become a good shooter now. It's not the best Battlefield I've played, but it's at the point where I no longer think it's a bad shooter. Like 6 months ago, maybe even, or maybe just right before season 1, I would say this game, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't good. It was objectively not good. Whereas now, I think it is actually at the state you can say it's probably one of the better shooters out at the moment. Like COD has launched well, but it's pretty buggy. So, and look, it's like Battlefield's had an extra year to get there, so it's maybe not a fair comparison. But yeah, I think right now, like when I play shooters, it feels like the shooter that feels the nicest, I guess I would say. So I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, same here. Like I have been greatly enjoying the whole just the back and forth jumping in a game. I've been in love with the AC-42, man. Like I don't know how I never played with this weapon before, but like it has been my like go-to for so long now, and I love the play style with it. It's super fun. I feel like successful as I play, and it's been a while since I've jumped into Battlefield and felt like I've been helping my team in any way, just because of the scale of it. Like this weapon has honestly like changed how I play the game, just because I can cover long distances and I can cover short distances and be effective at both, but not be limited in any way. So I've been loving playing it. Zane's been great, and I still haven't yet. I've yet to like fully utilize his rocket launcher thing. I can't remember what it's called. Basically, like the concussive missile grenade launcher, whatever.
Yeah.
I haven't been very good with that, and I often forget about it. But like you said, the trait is perfect. There's so many times that I've played and felt like, oh, yeah, I totally would be dead right now if I did not have this trait. And like, honestly, while I was playing Manifest today, I recorded a clip. I was jumping around. I got one kill. They had brought me down like to the yellow, and I regained just enough health in that little quick succession to jump down, hip hop around, and then get the second guy. And then a third guy came up, and I killed him too.
Yeah, it definitely opens up those like the little multi kills or like chained kills because a lot of those times you'll enter that second gunfight and you just don't, like, you're at half health, so they're obviously going to win that, whereas now you've maybe had that like 3 seconds to get that health back, and they also probably saw you get shot, so they think you're injured when you're not, and it gives you that little advantage. I really love it. Like, it's I think I mentioned this on when he first dropped, but there's a perk in Modern Warfare 2 that is called Quick Fix, and it's like the same thing. And I actively choose to run that in that game. And so now that it's in Battlefield, it's like such a nice little... Even in Battlefront 2 they had it. I think it was called Toughen Up. The trooper, like I think the assault class could use that perk, or I think it was or whatever, star card. And so, yeah, I've always just loved that you can get that little boost of health. It's not like overpowered. It doesn't give you more health, but it just like... it quickly gets you back on track, and it suits my playstyle a lot because I do play pretty aggressively to the point where, like, a lot of the time I'm nearly about to get a kill and I die because the last gunfight kind of screwed me over a little bit.
It's a noticeable trait which I really enjoy, and I really love the experience of it, and it's I just think this season, especially Spearhead and the new weapons, have just been a wonderful time. Have you gotten the shotgun yet?
No, I still haven't. I think I'm at
here.
like tier, I don't know, like mid-20s, and I think 28 is the pistol and 34 is the shotgun, I think. So I'm not too far away. I'm going to play a fair bit today, so hopefully I can try and get there. I haven't even seen gameplay of it yet. Like, it's kind of weird how late they put that in the battle pass, because usually, like, for season 2 I actually just bought the tiers. I think it was like tier 6 and like 12 or something to get both of the new guns. So I just paid, it was like, I don't know, $15 or something to just skip those tiers. But this time around I was like, that's a lot of money if I want to pay to get to the end, like to level 30 or something. So it's kind of weird that, we're 2 weeks into a season and there's a new gun that I haven't even used, let alone seen it. Like, I don't know what it looks like or anything. Yeah. So, yeah, it's kind of cool, though, because it gives me a bit more, like, mid-season content, I guess. It's, like, kind of drip-fed, which some people have an issue with. But for me, it's more like this week sometime I'm going to unlock that, and then that's, like, a bit of a new content. So, yeah, I'm down for them to do it that way moving forward.
Yeah, same here. I've yet to unlock it yet, but I think I'm getting relatively close to it. Speaking of mid-season, well, we've got another mid-season event coming in the following weeks, and it's going to take place over the course of 3 weeks this time, and then each week we'll introduce a new set of earnable cosmetics and a new mode to play through. So probably similar to last time, we're going to see a new mode. Hopefully it's enjoyable. I don't know what kind of mode that they could do.
Hopefully it is, because the last one was.
Yeah, especially that first one. We're like, man, it's gonna be so hyped because we're gonna have like close quarters combat, and it's like, no, this is like the worst thing ever, just because of how the maps were designed. 16v16 was good.
Yeah, that was a lot better.
But it still wasn't like the resounding success that our excitement made it out to be.
I think we gassed it. You and I definitely gassed it up a little bit too much, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we were so hyped.
I was so keen for that. I like, even, I did I changed my stream schedule to stream the day it dropped and everything, and I was like, oh, okay, this isn't actually that good.
Wait, never mind. And it's called Tensions Rise Around Nordvik, which is the the what they call Spearheads area. That's what the facility is called. And this is all that we know. We're taking a quick moment to confirm that our next mid-season event is coming in the following weeks. It will take place over the course of 3 weeks, with each week introducing a new set of earnable cosmetics and a new mode to play through. Stay tuned for more details. That's all that we have on information-wise for that. We'll see. They do give details on when we can expect the next update, which will be the end of January. And before that, and as we approach the holiday season, we're wishing you the most heartfelt happy holidays. So yeah, I think it's the graphics that they have in terms of the new skins that are available. It looks like they're expanding the lore, and this is a new kind of like NOPAT group. We had the Liquidators last time, and it looks like we may have a different group this time around.
Yeah, have you seen Temporal's tweets as of just this morning? The all blacked out skins. I think that's, looking at this picture where you can see like Casper and there's like fire in the background. I think that's that skin, because there's like 4 black skins. I think there was Casper, Falk, McKay, and Liz. Maybe?
Liz. Yep.
Yeah, and they're actually named after the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, which is pretty cool. So I guess they're the unlockable skins. I'm not really sure. But it's also weird that there's 4 of them and it says over 3 weeks. So maybe, yeah, I'm not sure how they'll do that. Maybe
they launch with 2 or one of them's paid.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But
yeah, Battlefield Bulletin said that they're connected to the upcoming event, Casper and Liz, at least. Yeah, but it's called what is it? Black Storm is I think the group's name, and I do like that note that it is the 4 horsemen: death, pestilence, war, and famine. I think that's just a really fun just tie-in. I think it's fun to name those super epic names.
Yeah, it kind of like gave me chills a bit when I realized it. I was like, oh, that's actually like such a cool little touch that we got these all blacked out skins named after the 4 horsemen and stuff like that. I don't know, just a cool little touch that they threw in there.
Yeah, I think it's interesting they didn't say anything specifically about any of the paid cosmetics. It just says a new set of earnable cosmetics. That was the big problem with the last mid-season thing, is there was only one earnable cosmetic.
It was Dozer, maybe.
It was Dozer.
Yeah.
And all the cool ones were paid. And it's so funny that like DICE is so like, oh crap, we're gonna have another controversy about paid things, that they're like, I could totally see them being like, all of the skins in this one are gonna be free and earnable.
Yeah,
I don't think that's necessarily the right move. I think they need to have ways to make money with each of these like events.
Yeah,
and they probably will have like some things that you can buy. But I just think the big concern was last time they had a mid-season update, it was like the amount of cosmetics you can earn versus the amount of cosmetics you can buy was just drastic.
Yeah. What I think they should do is those 4 skins, the black skins, they should be earnable. Make them a bit harder to earn, maybe.
Yeah.
But then have a bundle that's got the skin and like a weapon skin and a vehicle skin and a charm on it, so that then you can, like, because for me, I might be like, oh, I don't have enough time to unlock all of those skins, so let me buy the McKay one in the bundle and get like a cool blacked out like M5 skin or something as well. And then I don't think people have an issue with that, because you can still unlock I think the specialist skins are always the number one. Like, that's what people want, is specialist skins. And
yeah,
so if they do it that way, I just think people won't be as annoyed about it. Because then you can, the bundle's there if you want to get all of it, or you can just unlock them anyway, and it just means you don't get the weapon skins and stuff, but that's fine. I think that having that balance is completely fine. If people have an issue with that, I think that's just nitpicking, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
It's a paid live service. Like, we know that there's stuff in the store, there's the battle pass, like, we know these things by now. Like, people can't be annoyed about that. It was just that some of them were fully locked behind the paywall, which even me personally, I don't really care that much, but I can see why people are annoyed. So I just think having that balance is the way to do it.
I'd be totally down if like all of the specialist cosmetics were earnable. Make them hard, obviously, and if you want to, you can buy them. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like all of the weapon skins, I think pay for those. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
There just needs to be a way to have this game supported monetarily, so we can get content after season 5.
Yeah, because that's what I'm worried about. Is that I'd be all down for them to do that and be like, oh, okay, we learned from the last one you guys weren't happy with the paid stuff, so it's all free this time. Like, that's a good PR move, but I don't want them to like, I don't know, I don't want them to ruin their monetization. I don't want another Battlefront 2 where they just be kind of too nice and go, yeah, I'll just have all this stuff for free. Because then, it's really nice for the consumer, but then we don't get a game at the end. So in 6 months, it's like, sorry guys, now the game's dead because we were too nice. So you do have to run a business, and I hope that I think it's just all about the balance. If you can just make people happy while still making it enticing to buy the things, that's the best way to do it. Like, just don't piss anyone off, really. Make no one pissed off and still have things that people will want to buy. That's really the goal.
I wonder if they're just so like PTSD driven around the game that we won't get stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think it would be, they need to have ways to monetarily support the game, and limited time only event and skins that you can earn, I think is a great way to do that. But they just need to do it in a way that is good for players. It's good for them, and I think that balance of having the specialist skins, or maybe one specialist skin that is paid and the other 3 are earned, I think is a much better ratio than the previous one, where it was like you can have one earnable specialist but all of the rest of them are paid.
Yeah, it definitely does feel like they've got a bit of PTSD, and to be fair, I can understand why, because they've done themselves dirty a few times, and they probably want to avoid that. But yeah, I think you just gotta, I don't know. I think there's definitely ways they can try and hit that balance, and it shouldn't be too hard, surely, for them to do that. So we'll just have to. I think they would have definitely learned from the last one, so I don't think we're looking at another situation where there'll be only one skin that you can unlock. I think it even confirmed. What does it say? Does it say multiple unlockable skins each week? Introducing a new set. So I guess that means there'll be 3 skins at least, or 3 sets of earnable, because it doesn't even say a skin or anything. It says a set of earnable cosmetics.
Just set cosmetics.
Yeah. So like maybe even a bundle each week. Like, there's different tiers to what you unlock or something. I think it was like that with the first one, wasn't it? There was only one specialist skin, but there was like a weapon skin and a charm and all that kind of thing. So maybe they just do that. Instead of doing one for the whole event, they do one each week or something. And then, maybe that 4th skin and another bundle is paid, which I think that's fine. Yeah.
I just think they need to think about it. And I think they said they got a lot of feedback from the last one, and they've heard our feedback from the last one. So hopefully the whole experience around this one is, one, the game mode's enjoyable and unique, more unique, I'd say, than the last one, and that the cosmetics and how they operate with all of that will be better overall for everybody. But I'm really looking forward to it. I think that just them having limited time events, mid-season events, is just such a great idea, and I'm glad that they're continuing it, because we wondered, and they were kind of like, well, we might do it in the future, we'll see what's going on. But I think there was such it wasn't necessarily a backlash, but there was such a lot of feedback around the last one that I could have totally seen them being like, okay, yeah, we won't just do this anymore. Yeah. But I think the opportunity for them to have these limited only game modes, as well as the earnable cosmetics, is just such a great thing to bring people back and to experience it. I wonder if it's going to line up with a free weekend or something like that.
Yeah, probably it could, one of them, either like the first one or maybe the second one, because we don't actually, doesn't say there, does it? It just says in the following weeks. So I know that it's the 16th to the 23rd is the PlayStation free week.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
and that's the last one, right? So we've already gotten a couple of them, right? I think we got the Xbox and the Steam ones already.
Yeah, they were the same week, I think.
Yeah. So I think the opportunity for them to have a launch with, I think it could match up with that period for the PlayStation free one. And that would be perfect because that shows new players on the PlayStation side of things that, hey, this is a continuing updating game and we're going to get new cosmetics, new limited mode, and just give people an understanding of how much the game's changed.
Yeah, exactly. And even doing it like a few days after that goes live so that people download it and play for like 2 days, and then on the third day the menus all change and they go, oh, what's this? Like a new thing? Because if they get it for the first time on the same day, they won't even know what's different. But if they actually see like, oh, there's like, the other day I played and it didn't look like this, something's changed. Like that's kind of exciting as a player to get a new game and you see things going on, like see events happening and stuff. I think that'd be the way to go. Just, try and time it so that people actually can notice that it's something exciting. And we just got to hope that the mode is actually fun, because that could have the opposite effect. If the mode sucks and everyone's downloaded the game and they click into the new mode and it's terrible, they might go, oh, okay, this game's not very good. When in reality, it's in a good spot, but the actual mode that they're like funneled into might not be that good. So
yeah,
it'll be very interesting. I'm very keen to see how this one goes, because the last one, I didn't think they'd do another one, to be honest. So
yeah. I was also concerned that they wouldn't do another one too, just because of the level of discussion and discourse around it was not. I don't know. I say there was more feedback negative wise, or at least constructive, than there was positive.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people liked the idea more than the actual execution, but I'm glad that they're giving it a shot and we're going to see another take at it, because there's no way for it to get better if they don't continue to do it.
Yeah, and that's like we keep saying throughout the podcast, is that this game, I almost see it as like a beta for the next one. They're learning what goes well and what doesn't. So if they do this one and this event doesn't work, maybe they just go, okay, we've tried multiple events in the last game, and now when we release Battlefield 7 or whatever, like, we've tried that, it didn't really work out. Or this one might be really successful, and they go, okay, like in the next Battlefield, we're going to make that a permanent thing, that the middle of each season or whatever, once a month, there's this event that happens. So like these are the areas they can learn from, and it doesn't hurt. I don't think, like, if this one sucks again, I just don't even think that really matters. It's just a bit disappointing for us as players. We're just like, oh, okay, that wasn't that good. But it doesn't make the game like worse. It's just like, you kind of just want that week to end so that the regular modes come back to the forefront. So it's as good of a time as ever to try these things, I think. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, throw as much as you can on the wall, see what sticks, and then boom, there we go. Learn as much as you can from this game and adapt it and grow from it for the next one. Like that's the best course of action that you can take around this whole game experience. Make the best of what you can out of this less than favorable experience with the launch. And I think we're obviously all playing it. I'm having such a fun time with it, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how it grows and changes and the rest of the updates. I think I'm so pumped about that.
Yeah, it's definitely in a good spot that it just finally feels exciting moving forward. Even like season 1 and 2 were really good, but I think we didn't really know, and we still don't know, but we didn't know what was gonna happen in the future. And also, like, say, start of season 1, it was really good, but we were kind of like, was that a fluke? Because everything else they've done map-wise and stuff wasn't that good. I think now we've just had 3 good seasons in a row, and season 5's been announced and stuff. It just feels like there's a bit of, like, a bit of actual excitement is the thing, and that kind of, you can feel that in game when you're actually playing a game. Like, it just feels, it's not just that you're excited for the future, you kind of feel more excited for the game right now as well, in a weird way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. We're in a very good place for the game, I think, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they continue to update, change, grow, and implement the feedback. Because I think, like we've been saying in past episodes, this is the perfect opportunity to be the living beta and to try out. They can iron out all of the things that they want to do for the next game. Limited time only events, mid-season updates, what kind of content, is this enough content? Okay, what is a Battlefield game in 2022 and 2023 and onward? What does that look like? How can we implement those changes, the feedback, and all the things into the next game? And also train the teams that are working on it right now, because I think there are so many new people that have never had an experience developing a Battlefield game before that will now have experience developing a Battlefield game now.
Yeah, and especially through a rough period too, where like you're probably going to learn more than you would if it was just, if everything was going perfect and it's your first Battlefield game. You probably won't even learn that much because you just go, oh, that was easy. So the people who this is their first one, or even their second one, maybe the first one was Battlefield 5 and that had a rough launch, and then this one had a rough launch, they will be a lot more experienced than the people who have been in the gaming industry the same period as them, but on like really successful games. So they just got to make the most of that. I think you got to, when things aren't going right in a weird way, you've got to like milk that. You've got to like make the most of a bad time, because then when it comes time to correct it, you always do better, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I think like we've seen in like console, the console thing, Xbox 360 was a massive success. PS3 ultimately sold more, but it wasn't as big of a success as the 360 was. And then PlayStation came back and revolutionized what we thought of as a success in the game industry in terms of how well a console can do. And they used that to adapt and overcome. And Xbox, they had such a terrible launch with the Xbox One, and they have become the friendliest in the game industry for their players. And that was all because of the failures that they had in the past.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot there, and I'm glad that they're getting the opportunity and to learn, and they're actually listening to their players and the feedback, the content creators, all of it. I think there's a lot that is good about this game.
Yeah, 100%. We're definitely finally moving in the right direction. We have been for like a long time now, but it just feels like we're not only moving in the right direction, we're kind of in a good spot at the same time.
Yeah, I think I can honestly say that if you were on the fence around the game at launch, that I think you would enjoy it now.
Yeah.
Like that, and that's something that I never expected to say, but I think I can confidently say now that if you didn't enjoy it originally, I think you will enjoy it now.
Yeah, 100%.
And I mean, that's wild that they've finally gotten to that place where we can successfully say, if you've been on the fence, if you have Game Pass Ultimate, go ahead and download it right now. But if you've been on the fence, I think it's a good time to jump in now.
Yeah, they've definitely timed the free weekends and like Game Pass and stuff at the right time, because I think if they had done it much earlier, it might not have panned out. But I think the game's in a good enough spot with hopefully enough, promise moving forward too, that it's the best time if you have access to get it free through either Game Pass or through the free weekend on PlayStation or whatever. Like, definitely do it, because you're not losing anything. You might play it and go, oh, this sucks, and you didn't lose anything. But I'd imagine most people who download it won't say it sucks. I think they'll go, oh, this is actually, I heard really bad things about this, and now it's turned out pretty well.
To give people the best experience with this game, they just need to put all of the reworks into their own playlist, and then everyone will truly see how great it is.
Yeah, exactly.
if they get on and they have their first experience and it's freaking Hourglass, like
Yeah. They honestly should
it's-
almost like kill switch those maps
yeah, just get rid of them.
because it's just 2
Or
now.
like not
three
technically
now.
remove them, but make the the chance of playing them like 0.0001%.
Yeah, they should just really they could just take them out of the conquest rotation. If you want to play them in Portal and stuff, then you can do that. But they could actually just go into conquest and just only have 5 maps, or however many. There's not 5 anymore. There'll be 8 maps now, and take out the other ones.
Yeah.
And yeah, that you'd have the 3 new ones and like the 4 or now 5. No, yeah, 4 reworked ones. So yeah. That's what they should do, I think, because, yeah, if someone's first match is on Hourglass, they're deleting the game straight away.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If I did that. It's like I had this was years ago now, but it left a mark on me. I love Brussels sprouts, but like fresh Brussels sprouts, you get some olive oil, some salt and pepper, put them in the oven and get them nice and roasted. Love them so much. But one day I had them frozen and it was the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I had this first, I would never give Brussels sprouts the chance to get on my plate ever again.
Yep. That's a great comparison, actually. I swear we are really good at comparing food to Battlefield and making it make sense.
We need to start like a food Battlefield channel, like recreating Battlefield. This is, when I think of Spearhead, this is the meal that I think of. It's like a Swedish like specialty, but we make it like, okay, let's we are the no pats, we don't have an oven, so let's try and find a way to make this Swedish delicacy. And I say delicacy with quotation marks here, because most of the food that I've seen from Sweden that everyone's like, oh my gosh, this is most Swedish thing ever, looks awful.
Well, the only thing I hear from Sweden is freaking Swedish meatballs, and that's not really a delicacy.
I think that's the only thing that is good about the food in Sweden. From what I've seen,
but it's also just like
Swedish
that's
meatballs.
not even like.
Yeah, it's not like special to
niche.
Sweden.
Yeah, like everywhere has meatballs, don't they? Like,
yeah.
Surely there's not many places where you don't have meatballs, unless they do. I've never actually had Swedish meatballs. I don't know if they're drastically different, but
what
I
is
always
that
hear
like
that, and I'm just
horrible
like,
fish thing? What is it?
Oh, that really smells. I know what you're talking about. It's like in a can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but I know what you mean. And it's like you open it and it like stinks a whole room out, pretty much.
Surströmming.
Yeah,
fermented herring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is just like rotten fish, essentially.
Yes. It is a traditional dish from northern Sweden that rose during the 16th century when Sweden had a salt shortage. And
so they just couldn't make the food properly, and then that's now a delicacy.
Yeah. They're like, well, it tastes bad, but it's the only thing we've got, so guess we got to eat it now.
Goodness.
I saw this one dish, and it was like this pink jello and some protein. I think it was fish, and it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What the heck is going on?
No, thanks.
Yeah. But upcoming food food channel from the Battlefield show.
The Battlefield Kitchen, we'll have to call it.
Yeah, there we go. Man, we started this episode. Now we're going to end this episode on food. But both of them questionable in taste.
Yeah. Maybe because we record around my lunchtime. That's why I'm hungry.
And my supper time.
Yeah, so maybe like that's why we talk about food, because as soon as we finish this, I'm going to get food straight away. So
yeah, same
probably
here.
why we continue to talk about food every single time, because we're absolutely starving when we record these.
Yep, exactly. But I think with that, thank you so much for sticking with us this day and hanging out with us on the Battlefield Show. Talking Battlefield, having a good time, and making crazy comparisons to food and Battlefield. It's great. Love this podcast so much. But Thank you all so much for listening. As always, we'd like to thank Ethan Clark for the beautiful thumbnail, and we'll see you on the battlefield.